Good morning to all of our viewers, and welcome to the first podcast of the Back in Business podcast. I'm your host, Jafar Mahdoom, and today I have a wonderful guest with me, Stefanie. Good morning, Stefanie.
Hello, good morning.
Well, Stefanie, to start off, let me explain to you what this podcast is all about. We all know that, COVID-19 has hit us in like different ways. It's affected us mentally, emotionally, physically, and it's really taken a toll on all of us. And especially in the professional environment, it's hit massively. So what I want to do now is, be that source of inspiration, and not just me, but like I want everyone around me and whoever it's, whether I'm working with someone, whether I'm interviewing someone, I want all of us to now play a part in inspiring people, sending out a message which is so positive that's going to help people push through this COVID-19 pandemic, because it's always nice to be able to inspire someone. And when someone has like a role model or like a figure that they can look up to, it's always comforting to the viewers, saying like, okay, there's someone who's been through, we're not alone in this process. There's people who've been through this and they've gotten out of it. So I know that we also can get out of it. Now, enough about me. Everyone wants to know about you, our guest. So, Stefanie, what is it that you do? Explain to me about yourself. Explain to everyone around watching, what is your venture and what are you up to these days?
First of all, your company sounds really cool. I just want to put that out there. It's really interesting, especially for people like me, just creatives, especially during this time, trying to get their work out there and trying to get clients. Because you do have stuff like Patreon or DeviantArt, or you just have basic tools like social media, Instagram, Facebook, and whatnot to be able to make your trade. But if you do have specified portals that are designated to creatives to be able to sell their trade, then that really it helps. It's like an incentive, so you know that at the end of the day, it can be compared to having a permanent job where, at the end of the month, you have a definite salary coming into your bank account. Because when you're a freelancer, you can go a whole month and make maybe 1,000, or you can go a month and make 6 to 12. It really depends. It depends on the season. It depends on people's mindset, the trends, spending power, everything. So kudos to you guys. This is really brilliant. I am a digital illustrator, and I've been working in the field for roughly 3 years now. I started off doing photo manipulations on Photoshop, and then I started making my journey towards using Procreate and Photoshop to create characters and illustrations. Not technically graphic design, although I work with graphic design, I primarily work with creating out of the ordinary structures and creatures, adding a little bit of sprinkles to a mundane image, if you will. That's primarily what I do.
Fantastic. So this is your main venture. This is what you're up to. Is there any like side hustles that you have? Like, what are your other side hustles? Do you have anything that keeps you going, keeps you pumping all the time?
Honestly, I think all of my side hustles are art-based. I don't think any of them are outside the realm of that, because that's something that I like doing. And I've realized that if I want to wake up every day and do something, I don't want it to have to be something that I dread. I don't want to, because I've realized that life is short, and this is coming from a place of pure privilege, is that life is short, and I do want to wake up every day saying, this is what I like doing. How can I profit off that? Because at the end of the day, you can keep saying, I'm passionate about art. And believe me, if you don't have passion, then what are you living for? You have to have something. Even, let's say, for example, even if you're a tuition teacher, your love for, let's say, being around kids or feeding off their energy and teaching them and, feeding off like their smiles and their giggles and the fact that they achieve and they do well with school, that could be your passion. Translating that into making profits out of that is like having like tuitions for them, even if you don't want to work in a school. My thing has been two things. So I've been working on customized coasters. So they're mandala patterns. I went for a workshop in 2019 where it was held in D3, and they taught us how to just paint the whole thing and do like dotting patterns, and they give you the tools. And then the thing is that I thought, okay, I'm not going to make anything out of this. I don't really consider this something to do with my field. But then once I put it up on social media, it created a little bit of buzz. And then I thought, here's an opportunity to make a little bit of cash on the side, right? In addition to that, I've signed up with two agencies to face paint at events because
Okay.
so my sister is actually a face and body artist. Her canvas is the human body, which I think is really cool because you can paint on canvases, but then why not paint on actual skin? And I think as kids, we all took our ink pens and started, stoking all over us, right? So
Yeah.
I think she took that to a whole other level, and she started painting on the entire body, and it's been really
Okay.
cool where she's done like manipulations where she's separated like the hands. She's had like a pencil go through my nose where my mom almost screamed. So she's like, that's what she does. And I think I picked up on that when I saw that. And then I just said, okay, if I know how to paint on paper, I can paint on a body. And then because of that, I was able to, sign up with two agencies over here and actually work with them at children's events, business events, parties, events. Yeah, and Halloween is just, that's where it's at.
Halloween's like everything. It's like a peak of like everything. Like everyone wants
Exactly,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
art and art.
It's not Christmas, it's not Easter, it's Halloween, where it's not. And the beauty of Halloween is that it's not just kids, it's adults who
Yeah.
want to paint themselves entirely or just want to do something so innovative and out of the box that they say, hey, let's get someone to paint on us rather than dress up. And it's really cool.
That's fantastic. Anyways, Stephanie, now I want to talk about something that's been going on, all around the world right now, which is, COVID-19, right? And from what we've read, what we've seen, what we've heard, COVID-19 is like the talk of the town kind of thing. Like everyone wants to know about COVID-19. Everyone wants to talk about COVID-19. COVID-19 itself, it feels special, like something that's really like the big news. But it's not for the positive, 100%, right? There are people who've, transformed themselves during the pandemic. There's the saying that says like this version of you that's there right now would have never existed if the pandemic never happened,
I
right?
agree. Yeah.
100%, which is a complete positive. But now from a business perspective, COVID-19 like slapped the markets in like insane ways. Like we know like tourism industry, hospitality industry, travel, name it, that industry got hit. 100%. People lost their jobs. I personally know so many people who lost their jobs, and that eventually took a hit on me because all that kind of negative news and negative energy eventually takes a hit on your mind, right? Now, as a person who has a business, who has a venture of your own, side hustles, whatnot, we want to know how COVID-19 impacted your business. Like, how severe was it?
So there's like a timeline I can put out for you. So around the time when COVID started to hit internationally, I was in London because I was doing my masters over there. I was starting on my masters. I started in Jan, and by Feb end to March mid, that's when COVID, escalated in London, and we were stuck inside our rooms. And I consider myself like the majority of me is an introvert, so for me it was okay. It was not terrible, but I saw it affecting a lot of people, especially my mom who works in healthcare. And till now, it's a Saturday, and it's supposed to be like tomorrow's Easter. It's supposed to be a holy week for us, and she's still working. She works until 12 in the night, wakes up at 5, goes to her job, and she's constantly on the move. And it has affected a lot of the people around me. It affected me personally in a very positive way because I was able to become very independent and I was able to learn a lot of things by myself and able to think, I can do this on my own. If anything, I can do it on my own. I don't have to depend on anyone emotionally or physically. But business wise, in the beginning of the timeline, it was really good. Within March itself, people wanted a lot of digital illustrations because they said, hey, we can't go outside to get gifts for someone or, their birthday, anniversary, what may have. But I thrived off that. It was great.
Okay.
But then come May, things just died out. Within March, I got 10 orders, and I was really happy about that. But in around May, I got maybe one or two. And then when I came to the UAE, like I came back home in June of last year, it was barely nothing. It was almost nothing. And even now, it's here and there. Maybe this month I've gotten about 4, but besides that, there's just nothing, which is why coming back to our side hustle, I've had to pick up doing coasters and even the birthday party events, everything stopped. So that part I had to rule out and say, okay, that's a part of my income that I have to put on the side for now because it doesn't really exist as much now because parties are not happening that much.
Yeah.
They don't want outsiders as much. And even if you do, you might have to get a PCR test. For that, you're going to have to spend 150 to, above 200 dirhams to do that each time. So in that sense, I've had to work for a lot of other things. So even when I came back and in Jan and this March, I had to work for the tennis championship. I had to work at the front desk of the tennis championship because I said, okay, the birthday party events and whatnot is not happening. So I need a different avenue for an income. Had to work for those things. And then I started picking up doing coasters and I'm posting as much as I can on social media, even though, ironically, I try to stay off social media as much as possible because I feel like now you can't really you can't really take things off social media at face value and say, people are having such a great time. Everyone is so happy. Because I've seen so many people that I know of personally who post pictures of really expensive shoes and talk about how they're living in high-rise towers. And I keep thinking there are people out there who don't have a minimum wage, who don't have the ability to survive. To each their own. You can use social media for your own, but wouldn't you rather use it to benefit and inspire and spread positivity? Isn't that really what we're all about? Creating a community where everyone feeds off each other's positive energy and tries to build off that.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. When I came back, I'm not really sure who it was, but someone introduced me to a WhatsApp group. It was called Thrive on Black Canvas, I think. It's an Abu Dhabi group where a lot of artists, people who are working with energies, yoga, fitness, sound healing, they have a lot of events happening around Abu Dhabi and some of them even translate to Dubai because they really want to give free workshops for people who just want to have a lot of healing within them, mentally and physically, because it's taken a huge toll on people. It's taken a huge toll on their mental health. And I think a lot of people, especially right now, although a lot of people hate to say it, they want to be able to afford things. And if it's free, then nothing like it, right? So when I was introduced to the group, the people on there, you won't believe it, they are so positive. They are so overwhelmingly like bright and preppy, and the way they even talk to you, they're so inviting, and they constantly encourage you to take every day as a new journey. And if it doesn't work out, start from day one. It's amazing, and they're so involved and supportive of each other in each other's lives. It's incredible, especially to see during this time, to see such positive people coming together to create such a supportive community. It's incredible, honestly.
That's really nice. That's really nice. So going back to the thing, like how, you said like your orders got affected, when you were like hustling and stuff and whatnot. So you had to like venture out to like different avenues and stuff. So within the art, the artistic side that you have, you did tell me like, you had like the side hustle where you started making coasters, like handmade art. Let me ask you this one question. You know how you said you put it out on social media?
Yeah.
Now let's say you found this other source of distribution for you. If you had a distribution channel to sell that, could that have changed the number of orders you put out? Would that have changed the number of sales you had per product or whatnot?
On the internet, you have a lot of portals that take care of these things for you. For example, Upwork or Freelancer. And I'm a part of at least 5 apps by now on these websites. Honestly, till now, I haven't gotten a single one. And it takes a huge toll on you because then you start to like self doubt. But if there's an avenue where you can directly put stuff out there or put stuff out there knowing that you're going to get a return, then definitely yes, because then you know that you don't have to wait for things to come to you. You know that it's there, it exists.
Yeah.
There are buyers, there are people who are looking for your products and interested, and you don't have to keep begging and asking for it. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So now that, all of this has happened and then, it's like 1 year down the lane, would you say that you've adapted to the situation right now? Like from where it's all started before to where you are now, you would have had times when, you would have had your downs and then you would have had your ups and, it keeps going up and down all the time, right? But then as you keep going up and down, you would have the power to adapt to your surroundings, right? So now keeping that in mind, let's say in the later future, God forbid another situation like this ever happens. Honestly, God forbid another situation like this ever happens. But if there was to happen again, would you be able to, reduce the effect of it, the effect of another pandemic or whatnot that it has had on your businesses?
It's a little hard to say, but even now I am really trying because at the end of the day, you can't, unfortunately, you can't take it personally. If someone, if you're applying on LinkedIn 5 to 6 to 10 times a day and you don't get anything, you know that tomorrow you're going to have to try 10 times harder. But you're going to have to realize as well that it's not you, it's the situation around you.
Yeah.
Sure, your portfolio might not be exactly what they're looking for, but that doesn't mean that that's the only company that's going to accept you. That doesn't mean that they're the only one out there. It's not a make it or break it kind of thing. There are a lot of avenues out there and a lot of companies who are looking for different things. But the one thing that I can tell you is that personally, I'm really glad that things are slowly picking up now, but at the same time, people are understanding that this is the pace that we should be going at. This is how much purchasing power we currently hold in the palm of our hands.
Yeah.
This is where we're at right now, and we've tried to fight it. We have tried so hard, but if places like big places, let's take the example, Victoria's Secret went bankrupt.
Yeah.
If places like that goes bankrupt, then you can only imagine what toll it's taking on freelancers and entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But I guess the only thing you can do is try to keep up with the trends and try to adapt to what is happening, because then you'll be able to maybe find, slalom your way around it and try to find different avenues to approaching this. Because, like for me, I don't paint on canvases, but I took up dotting, and it has nothing to do with digital art because I realized that that's what people are looking for. Sometimes people are not looking for, animations or character illustrations of themselves. They're looking for a physical merchandise that they can use. They're looking for things that they can hang up or presents that they can give, or even a service. Like tomorrow, if someone says, I have a wall, I want to, instead of wallpaper, I want you to paint on it. That's something that you have to adapt to and say, I can do it digitally, or maybe I can find a partner who can do it on the walls, or I can do it myself. Let me practice it until now. And I think that's a very good strategy for adapting to the virus, is that this time will never come again. So if you can learn and adapt to things and study the market and the trends as much as you can, then that is your best tool. And you have to market yourself in such a way that you are able to find specific people and know exactly who you have to contact in the event that you have to do a certain job. If tomorrow someone says, I want graffiti on my walls, maybe you can do it on the iPad, and then you can have a graffiti artist do it for them. Or you can learn from a graffiti artist, go with them, and figure out how to do it. Scaling, measuring, what equipment you have to buy. So I think learning right now is the most important thing, because you will never get that time back, because everyone is in such a hurry to create that they don't pay attention to specific details. And if you do, then you'll be able to realize that this is exactly your niche, or this is not your niche. This is what I like doing. How can I find myself within this realm? So It's a give and take, but adapting to yourself and learning, I think right now is the most important thing. And it does
So,
pay off, yeah.
so you would say like that is like the key solution to the problem, adapting
Yes.
and learning.
Yeah.
Adapting and learning. Okay. I just want to like go back to something that you told me, right? Now you did tell me like, at the start of the pandemic you had like, 10 sale orders for your, for your work and stuff, and then slowly eventually it died down, right? Now, obviously you would have, marketed your services and your product or whatever you sell in a very specific manner, in a very specific way as well, right? Now, what I want to know is, what's like the best method or best way a person, an influencer or a creator or a business can put themselves out there, like can put the right foot out the door? What's like the best way to do it?
Honestly, as of now, I genuinely feel like word of mouth. And I think that it sounds so primitive and it probably sounds really traditional, but those days we used flyers, we sat down at dinner tables and told each other about it. And I feel like that's exactly something that's happened to me as well. As much as I try to post and engage with other creators and clients on social media, I feel like the most basic thing is to meet people in person and say, hey, I'm doing this, check it out. Because your attention span on social media is what, 2 seconds? And then you get bored. You see a video of more than 15 seconds and you think, oh God, I don't have that sort of time. You do. It'll probably take you 15 seconds for you to walk all the way down to like your basement and come back up, or go to the next room, like the living room. Like, it just takes a few minutes out of your day to be able to engage with someone else's content. But
Yeah.
I think if you maybe spend some time figuring out what your audience is, how to approach them, and maybe just do something really personal, because right now personal, like physical touch, is something that we haven't experienced in a really long time. We haven't been able to shake hands. We haven't been able to, we like touch each other's elbows to say hi. So if you're physically there in front of someone, talking to them and explaining what you do, I think that goes a long way, because you can do as much as you can on social media. You can put out the best, but believe me, sometimes the reach just doesn't come back to you. And then you start to take it personally, because then you start to think, is it me? Is it my inability to reach out to someone? Or do you think that it's not good enough? And that starts playing on your mind even more. In my opinion, I feel like once you are able to study the market and the trends, and then find out who you're supposed to approach, the influencers, the clients, your friends, family, who are able to probably take an interest in this, or then share it with the people they know that are very specific with their needs and their niche, then you know that you've hit the right spot. Because if you're talking to someone who doesn't understand the ABC of technology, it makes no sense to pitch them your new laptop ideas or your new software, new app ideas. They're not going to be interested. You're going to have to go through certain avenues to find those certain people and then say, this is who I should be contacting. Here's a list of people that I've researched on and kept very close contact with and built a good relation with, so I'm able to rely on them in the event that the whole market doesn't work, but these people do work. There's always a give and take with that.
Okay. So I just want to ask you a follow-up question with this, right? So I noticed that, you've said, you do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. You've taken it upon your shoulders to do all of these steps necessary to put yourself out there and stuff. Now let me ask you one question. What if there was this source that helps you do all of the things that you've said? Like, let's take, for example, let's say you have a management consulting company or something, right? That comes and tells you, okay, these are the things we can do for you, so and so. Sit back and relax and don't worry, we'll put it out there. All you need to do is, whatever product you sell or whatever service you give, you just put it out there. But whatever comes in, whatever comes with that, for example, the marketing or the word of mouth or whatever it is necessary, how would you react or how would you feel if someone came and told you that, like, we can do this for you, don't worry, it's going to be for a very low cost. There's nothing we expect back from you, but just the fact that we want to help you be out there as well. How would you react to it?
I think that's really great, because that's as good as it sounds. Because right now, as an entrepreneur, you are your own producer. You market your own things. You are your own director. You are your own craftsman. You are everything for yourself. You film your own stuff. You photograph it. You do the art. You market it. You produce it. You finance it. You do everything. So if there's someone else who's able to do all of those things and actually get a really good reach out of it and help you thrive with your business, nothing like it.
Perfect. Wonderful answer. Well, that's the thing, right? Because at SellShip, what we're trying to do is, it's not just the fact that we want to just be like, okay, here's a platform for, for your business, just put it all out there and then just expect kickback, relax, and have fun. No. What we're trying to do is we're trying to help small enterprises, medium enterprises, home businesses, even a self-made entrepreneur, anybody, to put out their services and products or whatnot, but we want to help the person as much as possible. What we want to do is to see you succeed, basically. So it's like, imagine there's a teacher and there's a student. Now we want the student to be the best. We want the student to be better than the teacher. That's basically what we're trying to do as well. So that's why I asked you the question, like, okay, hold on, like, what if you had this person or this, source where it'll be able to take care of everything? How would you react? But fantastic answer. Stefanie, what I want to ask you now is, how has the business coped up with everything? I know that, like you've said, like it has had its fair share of ups and downs. It has gone up and down in like numerous number of ways. Now, you would have had solutions. Was adapting and learning the only solution, or was there anything for the business that you had to change? Maybe the structure of how you're putting out your orders, the structure of how you're marketing it out to people. Did any of that change, basically?
I don't think it did, because I reached a certain point where, personally, social media became very negative to me. I started looking at other people's work, and again, you can look at social media and think everything is, everyone's really happy, candy in the sky, but it doesn't mean that that's real, because people can be putting up, marriage proposals on social media, but no one's going to share your divorce, so you don't really look at those things and think, yeah, everyone's going through a tough time, everyone's in it together. No, you look at it as everyone's thriving. So personally for me, I took a step back from social media. I deactivated my account for about 4 to 5 months because I needed that personal space. I needed to be able to learn and focus on my own personal growth, my mental health more than anything, because I started taking it really personally, and I started thinking, it's me, it's my work. But then once I took the break, I realized before COVID, I got a lot of traction every month. I was able to make an income every month. I was able to provide every month. Now it is a struggle. But then I have to remind myself, it's not me, it's the market, it's the situation, it's the virus, it's the purchasing power that's, hit rock bottom. And it's okay sometimes that you hit rock bottom, because now the only way is up. And but I feel like I haven't really changed with my strategies, because I've kind of told myself now, if it works, it works. But what I've done, again, is that I've started researching a lot of new things. I've started putting up my stuff on Behance and ArtStation, two incredible websites filled with really, really talented designers, and LinkedIn, where a lot of people can see my portfolio instead of me just keeping it on social media. And taking time for myself and realizing what I want to do and not what the market expects of me. So I think there's a clear difference with that, because at the end of the day, you want to make a profit of this, but you also want to be able to be true to yourself and say, why did I get into this in the first place? Oh, because I like it, not because this is what the market expects of me. So it's a balance between both. Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, finally, I wanted to ask you to give a personal message to the viewers out there who, want to start their own businesses or who want to start their own ventures. What's the one message that you would give them? Period.
If you decide that things are not working, take a step back and take a break and just think about why you went into this in the first place. If you feel like it's not reaching up to your expectations, maybe create new expectations. Sometimes it's not about the numbers or the reach. Maybe it's just about getting the word out there and creating stuff that you like. Maybe try crocheting. Maybe try designing on different surfaces. Maybe paint on jeans. I did that once and I loved it. But I think that at the end of the day, you also have to realize that you can't take it personally. As I don't know, it takes a deep hit to you, especially when you know that it's not picking up. But you have to realize that it is not about you. It is not your work. It is the environment that we're in right now that's creating all of this. But if you genuinely feel like things are not picking up, take a step back, research way more than you would have before putting yourself out there. Maybe run it by those people that you've made a list of, who you have to contact during these certain times. And maybe create a focus group. Those things help. And then take it from there. But don't jump the gun, because right now is the perfect time to be able to learn from your mistakes, pick yourself up at a pace that you are comfortable with. Don't run with the market just because you feel like the world is going really fast. If you want to create it a year later or 3 months from now, do it then. But do something that you are proud of and do something that you know the market wants. And if it doesn't, that's okay. Try again. But giving up is just not the option. Don't do that. Yeah.
Well, perfect, because that's how I wanted it, and I really, really loved it, because giving up is not the option. Giving up is not the answer. You got to push through. Obstacles coming by your way, and this is just an obstacle at the end of the day. That's what I truly believe in. But that's the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for being part of it. And to all our viewers, I hope you had a really good time listening to the wonderful Stefanie talking to us about how you can push through and how you can push forward. At the end of the day, all is going to be good, all is going to be well, and stay safe and do your thing. Thank you so much, Stefanie.
Thank you.